So whether it is, as you say, just getting up for that day,
Yeah.
that is taking responsibility for yourself. You're not remaining under your duvet.
True.
Another SMS has come through. I love what Michael says and what he says. I believe in shifting a person within 1 or 2 sessions. By using the emotional trail and not the mind, one heals much quicker. Mike Lubo. What do you think about that? Using the emotional trail and not the mind, one heals much quicker.
Yeah, I always think emotions are messages from our deeper self, our inner self. So whatever comes up, it's just a message of something that is within you. And usually what we do with our minds is we try to rationalize things.
Mm-hmm.
We are always after the logical path.
The rational mind.
The rational mind, and that's the trick that our mind plays on most of us. And usually we end up, for me, the struggle was feeling. Usually I just thought things in my head and that's just stayed there. But I never really went through the process of feeling it. Wherever it is in my body within. So I would end up acting as a robot, just because you're a person who can't express their feelings. You just stuff them somewhere within you.
Suppress them somewhere.
Yeah, and you never let them out. But as like I said before, they end up building up, to something that is bigger than dealing with the one emotion today, dealing with another tomorrow. So and you end up now needing to unpack all those emotions that you've stored up for years and years to begin the healing process.
And it's incredibly difficult because in that build-up process, the different illnesses start manifesting themselves in our bodies and in our emotions. And we suddenly wonder, why am I reacting like this to this situation?
Like this. Yeah. And sometimes you surprise yourself, like, was that necessary? Did I really need to go that far? But now you're being reactive because you can't respond to any influence or event that happens in your life because you're reactive based on emotions that you haven't dealt with yet.
And when you go into schools, we're going to have to watch the times. Actually, just give your number out, please, Michael, so that people have got that at least.
Okay.
How can they get hold of you? They want private sessions or they want you to come into the schools?
To the schools, yeah. I'm doing voluntary sessions at schools for now, so I'm doing it for free. So my email address is Michael Mujera, Mujera @gmail.com, and my number is 061-739-5819.
Thank you, and we're just breaking for an advert.
A frequency like no other. 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on Finding Human, and I'm with Michael Mujera, and we have a short while left, so there's a lot that we still need to discuss. I think you're going to have to come back again next year, Michael.
Yeah, definitely.
What I would like to discuss with you, which you have got down here, is high self-esteem traits.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get to those high self-esteem, would you say?
Once you're able to identify yourself in your authentic core, you can begin to develop from there, because that is the base, that is the foundation from which you build your self-esteem.
And your self-image.
Yes, and your self-image. So now when you're more aware of who you are as an individual, what traits or what you're good at particularly, you can now begin to build self-esteem in those areas. Maybe you're good at playing football, or maybe you're musically gifted. Whatever your gift is now, you begin to build confidence in those different areas. And you don't, sometimes we just generally want, it's not egoistic, I can say. It's not based on your ego or your persona or your facade, but it's something that is coming from deep within your authenticity, because you know how much you're worth as an individual. I always ask people, so how much are you? If I were to put a price, how much would you cost? What is your price tag? And that is a reflection of your self-image, how much you value yourself.
And that also varies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it varies, and you hear some numbers, different numbers coming up.
Yeah. It must be fascinating.
Yeah.
Actually, I like that question.
It is. So it's just a reflection of how much of your worth, of your self-worth as an individual, and your value, how much value you've placed on yourself. And as you begin to value yourself more and more based on who you are as an individual, and as that value grows, you also grow in self-confidence and self-esteem.
So true. When you're working, like you've been doing volunteer work in schools, what have you noticed about the groups that you have taken? Have they moved with you? Have they understood what you're getting at?
Yeah, you always have a couple of responses that are very positive. For some of them, it takes longer than an hour session to actually break through, because there's a patterns that they've developed over many years. So you just can't break a pattern because you spent an hour with someone.
Do you find that working with a group like that is beneficial?
Definitely it is, for starters, because you're just widening their perception to things that are broader, things that they might not have normally known or talked about at home. And these are new things for some of these kids, they're not taught at home how to deal with emotions. Some actually don't even talk about their feelings at home.
So true.
Yeah.
I have run a few meaning-centered logotherapy workshops at various schools, and I've been amazed at how so many of these children have come from incredibly difficult homes, and often they've been the head of the households. And they are searching for meaning. They're like sponges, and it's wonderful to work with them.
Yeah.
Have you?
Very much so, yeah. Because you still see that enthusiasm, that energy, that they're striving for something.
It's that will to live,
Yes,
isn't it? And to find meaning in our lives.
Yes, very
And
much.
I think that is one of our greatest motivators.
It is.
Now, what are your plans for next year? What do you see yourself doing?
I think next year, I see myself publishing another book.
Oh, good, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you feedback on this one.
Yeah, definitely. And I also am planning on doing a school tour, just with the Emotional Intelligence program. I want to actually develop it into actually a program that is, and probably find sponsors to help, with the funding for the program. And
So anyone listening in who would like to sponsor Michael, please do so. He would really like to hear from you.
Definitely. So we just want to spread that word, just to help youth be more comfortable with themselves, develop a positive self-image, be able to grow and accept themselves more for who they are, not for who they could become or who they were, just for who you are in this moment,
And live moment, right, as you say, take responsibility for this moment.
For this moment.
Because moving through this moment takes us to the next moment and the next one.
Yes.
And we gradually build up our own self-esteem, and our own gifts start emerging, don't they?
Yeah, and it generates a lot of momentum. Whatever you want to do in the future, it starts today. It starts today. And I always tell people that.
Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to have to wrap up. We've got Maya Angelou just finishing off for us. But it's been wonderful having you. And please come back again next year.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
And I'm really pleased that you came here from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'll be here next week with Philip Veyers talking about his trip to Israel.
Maybe the hardest part is if you teach, you have to live your teaching. You can't say, you do not as I do, but do as I say. No. You have to say, I'm doing my best to live what I teach. I have a painting by Phoebe of a group that she calls Sister Suki's Funeral. And all the women, there are about 9 women, and they all look like women in my grandmother's prayer meeting group. So whenever I'm obliged to do something, I take that painting and I look at that painting. There's an empty chair. And I think, now, what would Grandma do? What would she say? I can almost hear her voice say, now, sister, you know what's right. Just do right. You don't really have to ask anybody. The truth is, right may not be expedient. It may not be profitable, but it will satisfy your soul. It brings you the kind of protection that bodyguards can't give you. Try to be all you can be, to be the best human being you can be. Try to be that in your church, in your temple. Try to be that in your classroom. Do it because it is right to do. You see, people will know you, and they will add their prayers to your life. They'll wish you well. I think if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, hell, oh, damn, I think you're doing something wrong. But if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, she's so sweet, he's so nice, oh, I love, oh, God bless her. There you are. So try to live your life in a way that you will not regret years of useless virtue and inertia and timidity. Take up the battle. Take it up. It's yours. This is your life. This is your world. I'll be leaving it long before you under the ordinary set of circumstances. You make your own choices. You can decide life isn't worth living, and that would be the worst thing you can do. How do you know? So far. Try it. See. So pick it up. Pick up the battle and make it a better world. Just where you are. Yes. And it can be better, and it must be better, but it is up to us.